So this week, we witnessed history after a photographer captured the first ever sighting of this mythical-ass creature. China passed a new law that could change social media forever. This man says that he hasn't eaten for 9 years. We got radioactive tsunamis, the US testing nukes again for the first time since the Cold War, dogs in Chernobyl turning blue, and war everywhere. I guess that's appropriate for this Halloween special episode. So, let's stop the beating of the meeting and let's get trick or treating! No! We lost him! We lost him! He's dying! My ankle.
Are you okay?
Fuck you! Okay guys, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. This week we have seen a lot of war and war-themed shit go down, but because YouTube doesn't like us discussing sensitive subjects in the first few minutes of the video, Alex is gonna place me in the war capsule, the Halloween-themed war capsule in a minute. Good luck creating that, Alex. What does a Halloween-themed war capsule look like? With fairies and a rainbow on there, just to lighten the mood. Maybe Kim Jong-un in the passenger. I'm imagining a field with grass, blue skies. Hey, Alex, I hope this is not too late, but let's just cut the whole war capsule scene. It's gonna take so long, and everyone's already like, yeah, you're too late, you're late. Shut up. So let's just cut it. Let's just cut it. Doesn't matter. So, what we will start with is something that has just come out of China. And if other countries decide to adopt this too, it would change everything. And that is no exaggeration because you see, this week China passed a law which would make it compulsory for content creators and influencers to hold a professional qualification like a degree or a diploma if they want to discuss certain topics on their channel. So for example, if you're creating any content around what they deem to be a sensitive subject, we're talking finance, medicine, law, education, who knows, maybe even the news, you must prove that you are formally educated in that subject. And the government have essentially gone ahead and said, well, we're not going to monitor this ourselves. It's actually going to be law for you, the social media platforms, to monitor this for us. And if we catch one of your videos on your accounts that, there's this one guy chatting about some medical stuff and it turns out to be false, well, then you will get fined. So I can imagine in China, all of these social media companies are going to have to crack down like hell. But it's not only that, because this new law also requires influencers to clearly state what studies and sources they are referring to in their content, as well as to clearly indicate when AI is being used. Now, I think this kind of goes without explaining. This is all to prevent misinformation, which in turn, in theory, I guess, would prevent the public from following detrimental advice. And while, look, I get it. Some people are applauding this and they're saying that this is a good move. Misinformation and false claims online are running rampant right now, especially with the introduction of hyper-realistic AI. But others worry that this is just more censorship, more control of narrative, less freedom of expression, and in addition, an attack on independent voices and debate. And look, as someone in the news sector, I did find this very, very fascinating because I can see every single day when I'm looking and researching into topics how much false information that is believed that's going on out there. But I also believe in freedom of expression, freedom of information flow, freedom of speech. So what do you really do about this? Well, I contacted an expert in this field. Dr. Ids is highly qualified in his field, and he literally makes videos debunking a lot of false and harmful information that is out there online. That is his literal channel's job. And let me tell you, he does a fantastic job of this. But I also imagine he would see the implications around free speech when it comes to laws like this. So if there is anyone that has a very interesting opinion, it will be him. And this is what he had to say.
Now, many people in the West are rightfully calling this kind of thing censorship. And yes, in a country without free speech, that's a very fair concern. But the actual idea itself, personally, I think it's a net positive. You know, I've seen how health misinformation can ruin lives. People giving up life-saving medications, trying dangerous diets, distrusting vaccines, all because of a viral post. And research shows that false information spreads faster and lasts longer than accurate information. But the point is, should every random person online debate medicine? Yeah, probably not. Public medical advice should come from people with medical training. Debate within the field is healthy, but not every Google search should carry the same weight as a medical degree. It's quality control, in the same way you wouldn't want an untrained pilot flying a plane. The real issue is who enforces it. If it's used to protect people, then that's good. But if it's used to silence the truth, then that's censorship.
Now, if you're interested about just pure numbers, on my Instagram, I ran a poll on this TikTok, and because I don't get any internet right now, this is what the score was. Interesting, I know. But let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. I'm genuinely interested to know what you guys think about this one. But for now, I think that is deep enough into this video for Alex to place me in the Halloween-themed war capsule. All right, we locked in, let's go. Firstly, Rio de Janeiro turned into a war zone this week after Brazilian authorities launched one of the biggest operations against drug trade the country has ever seen. A staggering 2,500 heavily armed police officers were deployed into the streets of Rio de Janeiro to take on one of Brazil's biggest drug gangs, known as the Red Command. And along with armored vehicles, helicopters, and drones, it became the largest operation of its kind in state history. But here's the thing, instead of the gangs, just accepting their arrest, they did the opposite. They fought back. Bro, the cartels even started using drones of their own to target police and drop explosives. Yes, explosives were literally raining down from the sky. Even the local governor said that the city is effectively at war and then accused the president of refusing to support this operation with military forces. So far, and this number is truly, truly astonishing, 132 people have been killed, including 4 policemen. And the thing is, authorities said that this operation went as expected, if not as desired. 80 others were arrested, 91 rifles, and nearly 2 tons of drugs were seized. This is now officially the deadliest crackdown on drug trafficking this city has ever seen. And if you think that's crazy, let's go from Rio to the United States. Because for the first time in over 30 years, the United States, which is the only country in history to have ever used a nuclear weapon at war, well, they have announced that they will begin testing those weapons once again. Bro, why in our lifetime? Skip our generation, go to the next, or at least wait until I'm outside of military fighting age. They're gonna draft me first. Now here's the thing, the US stopped this testing in 1992, but now Donald Trump has ordered the US military to resume US nuclear weapons testing in order to keep pace with other countries such as China and Russia. And he actually did this on the way to go and meet President Xi of China, which I guess is actually didn't plan to cover this news, but another major bit of news this week. They met for the first time in years, and actually, it's good news. They agreed on a lot of things. Donald Trump lowered the tariffs down to only 10% on China, which, keep in mind, that was over 200% at one point. And then China agreed to start buying a bunch of stuff from the US again, like soybeans, etc. Anyway, back to the news that we were talking about. Most people are speculating that Trump restarted US nuclear weapons testing because of what Russia did a couple of days ago. They tested a completely new type of weapon that is nuclear powered. They say that it can stay in the air for about 15 hours. They claim that it has unlimited range, can pierce any defense shield, and that it's a weapon that only Russia has. And most notably, Putin ordered that this weapon should be deployed. He wants to use it. Absolutely lovely, but the war news doesn't stop there. Because then going from the US over to here in the UK, Elon Musk tweeted this week, "Civil war in Britain is inevitable, just a question of when." Now, Elon, I don't know why, bro, really loves getting involved in UK stuff. But this is certainly not the first and probably won't be the last time. And as we covered a couple of weeks ago, he said that to hundreds of thousands of people at a major protest in London.
Whether you choose violence or not, violence is coming to you. You either fight back or you die. You either fight back or you die.
So he's gone from warning the British public that violence is coming for you to now civil war in your country is inevitable. And it is actually important to know the context of why he said this. So a couple of days prior, an Afghan national was actually arrested after allegedly stabbing 3 people in West London. One of those was only 14 years old, another man was 45 years old, and he was taken to hospital with life-changing injuries. And then the third individual was a man named Wayne Broadhurst, and he was out simply walking his dog in the evening, and now he is dead. Now, as you can imagine, this caused a huge reaction of anger online because, yet again, as we've covered before, this touches on a very big and sensitive political situation here in the UK, which is illegal immigration. After the attack, a man named John James tweeted, "You can smell the anger across the UK tonight. Decent people have had enough." That got 20 million views. GAZA, who is a professor and evolutionary behavioral scientist, he replied to that tweet saying, "There will be civil war." And then Elon replied to GAZA saying, basically agreeing and saying that it was inevitable, it's just a question of when. Now, those are very big and extreme claims. So just as a counterbalance, let me remind you that Elon has said a lot of extreme things and big things before. Some of them have come true. A lot of them have not. So let's just say, take the civil war claim with a grain of salt. Not to be dismissed, but a grain of salt. Oh, but we are still in the war capsule because we're going from the UK now to the Middle East. Because also this week, Israel carried out the largest and most deadly strikes on Gaza since the ceasefire was signed. And according to Gaza's health ministry, 104 Palestinians were killed. Reports say that the Israeli strikes were on terror targets, but they also hit homes, schools, and residential blocks. And also, of those killed, reportedly 46 were children, 20 were women, and more than 250 other people were injured. The IDF claimed that this was in response to Hamas violating the ceasefire by 1, not returning the deceased hostages, and 2, they accused Hamas of an attack that killed an Israeli soldier. Hamas, on the other hand, they deny any connection to that attack. So you're probably wondering, does this mean that the ceasefire is over? Well, apparently not. Both sides after this have said that they are still committed to that agreement. Okay, Sudan. Let's talk about it. You're probably seeing comments everywhere about the country right now, and that's actually for good reason because reports say that about 2,000 people have been killed in just 48 hours. That is staggering. And reports state that these are executions. They are killings of unarmed men and women, which, may I remind you, is a war crime under international law. There are bloodstains on the ground so large that they can be seen on satellite imagery from space. Here's the situation. There's been a civil war in Sudan for the past 2 years. This is between a military group called the Rapid Support Forces, or the RSF, and the Sudanese National Army. And there is a city in Sudan called Al-Fashir, and that city has been under siege and surrounded by the RSF for hundreds of days. But this week, that city fell. The RSF went in and the Sudanese National Army withdrew. Now, here is why you've been seeing a lot about Sudan recently, because there's been a huge amount of evidence online in the form of videos and reports that show the systematic killing of civilians and many other atrocities. We're talking house-to-house execution, indiscriminate attacks, and sexual violence. In fact, according to figures from the World Health Organization, a staggering 460 people were reportedly killed at a hospital, including patients and staff. But to make matters even worse, humanitarian organizations say that there's still around 250,000 people stuck in the city trying to escape. And the thing is, even before Al-Fashir fell, NGOs and human rights organizations, including the UN, they said that Sudan was facing the worst humanitarian crisis in the world. But now that could go to another level. Now, the RSF claim that they are providing safe corridor for civilians to evacuate, but again, the UN and many other human rights organizations, they say otherwise. But here's the part that has people especially worried, because there is a precedent to this, and it is horrifying. Roughly 20 years ago, there was an Arab militia known as the Janjaweed, and they committed a well-documented genocide against the ethnic Africans. And here's the thing, the RSF, the group that is now in Al-Fashir, they are a group that has emerged from the Janjaweed. So, you might be wondering, what happens next? No one knows, but the situation currently is bleak. But of course, as things develop, I'll make sure to keep you guys updated because we have a lot of news this week that wasn't about war. So, moving on. Okay, now for a very different change of pace. If you thought that we'd slipped into another timeline at some point because of how crazy shit is, well, let me confirm your suspicions. Because 6-7 has just been named as the word of the year by dictionary.com. Those dicks. I'm sorry. Because if I have to spell out the irony of this, first of all, 6-7, not even a word, it's a number. So well done for word of the year. But 2, this award was given by a dictionary. And you want to know what the number 1, the sole purpose of a dictionary is? To give you a definition of the word. Yet, there is no definition for the number 6-7, their word of the year. My brain hurts. And you know what? I am happy that I feel the anger of this one because Alex, I can finally join Alex in Unk status. Even this, I am too Unk for at this point. Alex, I am on your side for once. Woo! So when the definition tries to define it, they say, perhaps the most defining feature of 6-7 is that it's impossible to define. It's meaningless, ubiquitous, and nonsensical. In other words, it has all the hallmarks of brain rot. So let's give it an award, you Chat, it is confirmed 100%. We are cooked. Next! Also recently, and this one is just crazy, a number of world leaders had their private mobile phone numbers leaked online, which prompted a federal investigation. Just some of the private numbers that the internet now has includes Australia's Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, India's Prime Minister, Modi, and even Donald Trump Jr. Bro, is there not a single company left on planet Earth that can keep our information safe? In fact, you know what? Since we have it, I might as well give good old Anthony Albanese a ring. See what that number is? Oh, dark web.
Hello, who's this?
Anthony, mate! How do I have your number? Look, you must not be using Proton Mail, because otherwise... you bastard! What? Okay, you see, what you would have heard if you didn't put down is that there is one company that takes your information very seriously. So much so that Proton Mail actually provides security features that no other secure email provider does. Flat out. We're talking zero access, end-to-end encryption. All servers kept in Switzerland for their strong privacy laws. Their apps open sourced and they're independently audited. Oh, and unlike the email that you probably currently use, which shall not be named, Proton's business model is not based on user data. Therefore, all ads are blocked by default, and they don't track users' activity to sell to data brokers. Plus, no one likes admins, so they've made switching incredibly easy. With just a few clicks, you can move your entire inbox, calendars, and contacts. Oh, you won't believe me when I tell you, but this is free. All you gotta do is use the link that I've pinned in the comments or the description, and you can finally breathe easy knowing that your data is finally safe. Poor Albanese.
Is this Dylan Page again? I told you, stop calling me.
Moving on. Speaking about things that are just hard to believe, this man claims that he has been fasting for 9 years straight, eating no food whatsoever and just purely liquids. You believe that guy? And guess what? This is apparently just the beginning, because he said that he is planning to do this for the next 40 years. He's going to stop in the year 2057. Let's bookmark this, schedule an upload, and revisit that in 2057. Subscribe to watch my video in 2057 about this guy. Self-proclaimed Apostle Marcelino from Angola, also known as Prophet Elijah, he's actually become a bit of a Christian celebrity online. In fact, on this TikTok account, which appears to belong to him, he has nearly 500,000 followers, and his videos regularly get millions of views. But apart from his sermons, his worship songs, and his prophecies about future events like World War III, what's made him especially well known is his acts of faith. He says that in 2016, God told him to survive on only liquids for the next 40 years. And apparently, according to him, 9 years later, he's still going strong. And I don't know what's next. Apostle Alex, the editor. And he's on 7 years without any sleep. So take that. Now, of course, I don't know if this has to be stated or not, but all medical opinion unanimously agrees that if bro hasn't eaten for 9 years, he would be dead. So, this is either 1, a miracle like we have never seen before, or 2, bro said, God didn't specify what kind of liquids, he wanted me to drink, so I'm gonna slam some smoothies and get all the nutrients I need.
I blend chicken twice a day to be an open pro bodybuilder.
And in that case, I guess it is technically possible, so yeah. But it's not even just this. He also does other public demonstrations, like one time he stayed on his knees praying for 30 days straight. But what do you guys think? Do you believe this man or not? Moving on. Okay, this next one though, you have to believe because it is insane. What you guys are looking at is believed to be the first recorded sighting in history of a leucistic Iberian lynx. And leucistic it's not albino, but it's similar. It makes them, give them a white coat. Now, photographer Angel Hidalgo, he captured this footage somewhere in the high-end mountains in Spain, but they didn't specify where, which is good because that was the reason to protect, you announce this to the world and everyone goes there. You know how humanity is, they would. And at first, some people were skeptical. They thought it was AI. They couldn't believe what they were seeing because not only are the Iberian lynxes so very rare, I think there's only about 2,000 left in existence, but also because it was white. Leucistic to be precise. But we can confirm that this is legit because local media report that after analysis of images independently by the Lynx Project, it has now been confirmed as a leucistic specimen, which would be the first officially documented in Spain and possibly the entire world. And I would change that to probably because the lynxes, they're only native to the peninsula of Iberia. So why would it be anywhere else apart from the peninsula? We don't know. Point is, you are witnessing history with your eyeballs here again. I feel like we witness history a lot on this channel. Dare I say, the chances of seeing this are almost mythical. Next. Oh, this is so crazy because from one unbelievable creature to another potentially unbelievable creature, dogs in Chernobyl are now turning blue. And no one knows why. Now, this footage that you're seeing, it was captured by an organization that is dedicated to caring for the abandoned pets of Chernobyl. And fun fact, the dogs that you're seeing here are actually the descendants of the dogs that were left there by the families during the 1986 nuclear disaster. And what's so crazy is that last year, in about February, we covered that there were mutant wolves that had started developing genomes that became resistant to cancer because of obviously where they are, the radiation. If that wasn't crazy enough, we've now got this. 3 dogs spotted turning completely blue. Is it like the A Million Eye Squirrel from The Simpsons? Or is it something more like they just stepped in paint? Point is, we don't know. The organization speculated on their Instagram that it was most likely them getting into some sort of chemicals, but then at the same time, they were also fine, healthy. They're currently trying to catch them to investigate, so keep you guys updated. Next! Also this week, guys, Prince Andrew no longer exists. Last night, the King of England shocked everyone by not only stripping his brother's prince title away from him, so now, bro is just Andrew, but he also kicked him out of his house. And let me tell you, this is literally unprecedented. You are witnessing history yet again on this channel. Multiple times a video witnessing history. How do you not subscribe? Now, this is where Drew was living for the past 2 decades. And yes, we're stripping away even his Anne He's now just Drew. It's a 30-room royal mansion with a swimming pool and cottages and acres of land, and he signed a 75-year lease on it. Oh, and he also assembled the Sus Avengers in 2006. Bro really invited Jeffrey Epstein, boom, Ghislaine Maxwell, boom, Harvey freaking Weinstein, all of them to his royal lodge. That's wild. Today, 2 of them are in jail, and 1 of them is dead. What a track record. One of them is now no longer a prince. Oh, and as for the rent he was paying for this royal mansion, according to his contract, quote, rent means 1 peppercorn, if demanded, per annum. How is bro paying peppercorns for rent? Now, you're probably wondering, why is this all happening now? Well, this month, not only was Virginia Giuffre's memoir released, and keep in mind, she now is no longer with us, and she wrote in this memoir that she had sex with him on 3 separate occasions as a teenager, but also this month, more emails came out showing that Andrew was still in contact with Epstein after he claimed that their friendship had ended. Virginia's family wrote, today, an ordinary American girl from an ordinary American family brought down a British prince. You is still 8th in line for the British throne. Wow. Moving on. Also this week, is rap music dying? Because for the first time in 35 years, yes, history yet again, not a single rap song was in the top 40 of Billboard's Hot 100. Just think about that for a second. Every single week since 1990, that's almost 2,000 weeks in a row, there has been a rap song in the top 40 until today. I hope you're adding explosions to these things when I go.
I didn't know that. I just telling me now for the first time.
Now, there's 2 reasons for this. One, you'll hear a lot of unks in the comments say it, and probably Alex. They don't make music like they used to. That's the first reason. But secondly, Billboard recently made some rule changes. They said, we're making some changes around here. So they said if a song is too old, like from 2024, we're taking it out of the top 40. Therefore, the last one hanging on, Kendrick's Luther, well, recently they took that one out back too. But I guess that's beside the point, because there was a whole year of 2025 of music to have made the top 40. And no, Taylor Swift's 12-song album, every single one made it to the top 40, so what's up? Either way, the question must be asked. Is rap music dying, or is it just one bad year? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Moving on. Okay, now, instead of whippings in our Halloween special, we have empire cursings. Now, guys, I want you to be kind to this idea. NEWSDADDY was so enthusiastic when contributing this idea to the empire, all right? So let's get this started. Some of you in the empire are getting cursed today to remind everyone else to subscribe. So I'm sorry to put eternal cursings on you, but people need to remember we're so close to 1 million. So, NEWSDADDY, would you like to explain your idea for this?
I don't think they realise how goated I am with the ideas on this channel.
Okay, here we have a cauldron, and I was requested to use a Frankenpen. This is so silly. And write the cursings on here and drop it in the cauldron, and you're cursed forever. So, thanks, NEWSDADDY. First up, 3 sacrificial cursed lambs. First cursing. Oh! Feels very anticlimactic, I'm not gonna lie to you.
Alex will add all the edits and the green explosions and stuff.
Alex doesn't have infinity time. Cursings number 2. Oh, god damn it. Cursings number 2. Woo! Cursings number 2. Boom. Cursings number 3. You like that?
It's called a Frankenpunch. Because we got Frankenpunch and curse.
Oh, cursings number 3. Boom! Okay.
Halloween episode done.
No, we've still got more stories.
Oh.
It is time for news. Russia have now developed a new weapon, and this should have been in the war capsule, but it's not. A new weapon that can cause radioactive tsunamis. We ain't making it to 2026. Now, Putin has been talking about this weapon for years, but this week they announced the successful test of that nuclear-powered super torpedo. When did they test that, and what on? Now, how this works is that it's launched from a submarine with very, very long range, and it explodes underwater, triggering tsunamis capable of wiping out entire coastal cities. Who came up with this idea? Next! And lastly, Billie Eilish. She is urging billionaires to give away all or give their money away. Now, during her acceptance speech at the Wall Street Journal's Innovator Awards, Eilish said, "If you're a billionaire, why are you a billionaire? If you have money, it would be great to use it for good things. Maybe give it to some people that need it." And then she went ahead and announced that she was giving away 11.5 million of her own money to various charities and organizations. That is how we are wrapping up this week's Halloween Spook Season special. All of this that you see here is going to be removed by the next episode. I don't know what theme we're going for next, but goodbye, my lover. Goodbye, my friend. I won't be doing it. NEWSDADDY down there, are you going to be doing it?
As always.
Woo! All right. I will see you on Monday. Have a fantastic weekend. And see you later.